had a hit on Dolph head or whatnot, so.
How do you know that Big Jook had a hit on Dolph's head?
Cause Quick had told me about it.
How much money was it supposed to be?
$100,000 on Dolph head.
And had you agreed to do this hit?
Yes.
DA Paul Hagerman says Yo Gotti's late brother, Big Jook, put out a $100,000 hit for who.
Yo Gotti, say your prayers. You better say your prayers.
You know they coming, don't you? You know they coming. Show
bro. Hey, bro, that nigga got up there and said, they said, didn't CMG pay for your attorney $50,000? Yeah. But they didn't give it to me. He said, yeah. But they paid for it because you Young Dolph, right?
Has Yo Gotti finally hit his breaking point? Word on the street is he's allegedly skipping town. And there's even a video allegedly making waves that might back it up. With the dust far from settled after Young Dolph's death, and new claims linking Gotti's brother, Big Jook, to the tragedy, it seems like the heat is rising fast in Memphis.
Do y'all think the police is going to try to tie Yo Gotti into this because his brother was basically like in his company, like under?
First, there was a shootout at his restaurant that led to the deaths of 2 people. And now rumor has it that the city might be looking at its next target in the cycle of vengeance, leaving Gotti in the crosshairs.
Yo Gotti, say your prayers. You better say your prayers.
You know they coming, don't you? You know they coming. Show
bro. Hey, bro, that nigga got up there and said, they said, didn't CMG pay for your attorney $50,000? Yeah. But they didn't give it to me. He said, yeah. But they paid for it because Dolph, right?
Let's dive into the details. On September 23rd, things took a wild turn in the case of Young Dolph's Emder when Cornelius Smith, one of the 3 men charged, openly confessed during Justin Johnson's trial, making the courtroom buzz as he admitted to the shooting and pointed fingers right at his co-defendant. Smith didn't hold back, identifying himself and Johnson as the 2 gunmen from the surveillance footage on the day Dolph was offed, and he claimed that they'd both agreed to carry out the hit for a $100,000 bounty allegedly set by none other than Yo Gotti's late brother, Big Jook.
DA Paul Hagerman says Yo Gotti's late brother, Big Jook, put out a $100,000 hit for who.
According to Smith, their co-defendant Hernandez Govan tipped them off about the reward, but in a cold twist he said Big Jook had later backed out, claiming things were too hot to pay up. In the end, Smith confessed he was paid only $800 for Dolph's life, a shockingly low amount that's only added fuel to the fire around this high-profile case.
Had a hit on Dolph head or whatnot, so.
How do you know that Big Jook had a hit on Dolph's head?
Cause Quick had told me about it.
How much money was it supposed to be?
$100,000 on Dolph head.
And had you agreed to do this hit?
Once clips from the trial made headlines and started trending all over social media, Yo Gotti became a prime target for waves of furious trolls and faceless accounts who flooded his Instagram with all kinds of threats and chilling comments. Under a video he posted of Moneybag Yo, one of his CMG signees, thumbing through stacks of cash, dozens of users seemed ready to make their own threats, with some telling Gotti that his time was coming or outright predicting his death. Among the heated comments, one user posted, "Gotti, you gonna die, just watch," while another claimed that not only was Yo Gotti involved in Dolph's death, but had even gone so far as to have his own brother Big Jook off to cover his tracks, writing, "You offed your own brother to save yourself." The dark remarks just kept rolling in like, "Your time is coming," and "Better watch your back for the rest of the year," with users seemingly bent on keeping up the heat. As the internet blew up, people across the industry had a lot to say, including the ever-controversial Wack 100, known for his blunt takes and as the manager for artists like The Game. Wack didn't hold back on Clubhouse, where he warned Yo Gotti that he could very well be the next rapper to end up in handcuffs if he's found to have played a part in Young Dolph's Emder. With a mix of dark humor and serious caution, Wack advised Gotti to say his prayers, fueling even more speculation as he weighed in on the ongoing Emder trial. In the full statement, he says, "Yo Gotti, say your prayers, nigga, you better say your prayers," Wack said. "That Anja got up there and they said, 'Didn't CMG pay for your attorney $50,000? He said, "Yeah, but they didn't give it to me." He said, "Yeah, but they paid for it because you off Dolph, right? Yeah, well that was your conversation, right?" If that NGGJA said, "Well yeah, they gave the attorney $50,000 because I off Dolph." Jook dead. He was an exec of that company. That's your brother.
Yo Gotti, say your prayers. You better say your prayers.
You know they coming, don't you? You know they coming. Show
bro. Hey, bro, that nigga got up there and said, they said, didn't CMG pay for your attorney $50,000? Yeah. But they didn't give it to me. He said, yeah. But they paid for it because Young Dolph, right?
Looks like things are starting to heat up even more, as Yo Gotti's world just took another hit with some shocking news. His family's restaurant became the scene of a deadly shooting that left 2 people dead and 5 others injured in Memphis, Tennessee. This tragic incident has people wondering if the drama surrounding Gotti might be getting even closer to home, and if this shooting was a warning, or if those looking for justice are closing in on him. So for anyone out of the loop, there's been heavy talk for a while that Yo Gotti's crew might have had a hand in Young Dolph's death, and honestly, it's no secret that the beef between them has been brewing for ages, with both rappers trading shots in songs and escalating things to levels most of us wouldn't believe if we hadn't seen it happen. This feud was out there in the public eye, raw and unfiltered, like when Dolph dropped that infamous track 100 Shots, taunting the guys who botched an attempt on his life, just fueling the fire even more.
Gang, gang, gang. Those folks come and get you, you gon' tell on the whole gang.
But here's where it gets intense. Apparently Big Jook, who's Gotti's brother, took matters to a whole new level, allegedly putting out the call that eventually led to Dolph's tragic end. And if that's not enough, he reportedly hopped online right after it happened, mocking Dolph's death in a way that had people both shocked and enraged, which just goes to show how deep this conflict runs.
Man, 'cause I know a lot of you rap niggas f***ed up out here, man. Can't do no shows. Ain't save no money. So guess what? I'ma come say.
Karma, though, seemed to have its own plans because later down the line, Big Jook himself ended up getting caught in a violent turn and was fatally shot, almost as if some cosmic force was balancing things out. And honestly, it's got people saying this whole situation is beyond twisted.
And well, at least 5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Big Jook is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
And asked for Young Dolph to be murdered.
Mr. Govan has been indicted and is in custody for being involved in the Young Dolph. He played the role of the person who solicited.
Meanwhile, Yo Gotti has been practically MIA, with fans speculating that maybe he's keeping a low profile, laying low because he knows the heat's starting to close in on him. As for the court developments, the story just keeps getting grittier. Justin Johnson, aka the rapper Straight Drop, was the first to make an appearance. He's accused of being behind the wheel of that infamous white Mercedes that shadowed Dolph's camo Corvette all the way to Makeda's Cookies in South Memphis, where things took a dark turn. His co-defendant, Cornelius Smith, reportedly jumped out with a Draco and unleashed a hail of bullets, while Justin allegedly followed close behind, firing a handgun too. And the autopsy later revealed Dolph had been struck 22 times, a horrifying tally that shows just how brutal this act really was.
So y'all,
Yeah, that's us right there.
stop it here.
It's me.
Can you stop it? We're gonna this guy out of the car. Who's that?
It's me.
That's you? Which one of the guns do you have?
I got the little Draco stab gun.
Okay, that's that semi-automatic weapon, is that right?
Yeah.
This tragedy hits even harder knowing that Young Dolph wasn't alone when the bullets started flying. His brother, Marcus Thornton, was right there in the store when everything erupted, and the attackers were so locked in on taking Dolph out that they completely ignored Marcus, which gave him just enough time to draw his own weapon and return fire, even managing to hit both Justin and Cornelius as they scrambled to escape the scene. And Marcus didn't stop there. He actually pursued them, emptying his clip, then grabbing another gun from Dolph's Corvette to keep firing at the getaway car. He even managed to graze Justin's back and hit Cornelius in the leg in the chaos.
Watch the rest of the video here. Did y'all see Marcus getting a second gun from his car?
Nah, but when we pulled up,
And on the trial's first day, the tension skyrocketed as Cornelius, who has now become a cooperating witness, took the stand and started spilling details, sharing a backstory that added a whole new layer to this dark saga. It turns out he was in a dark place himself, struggling with addiction after losing his 9-year-old son just 3 months before the MDR, which pushed him toward drugs like ecstasy and oxycodone as he tried to numb the pain.
I lost my son in March of 2020.
Okay. How old was he?
He was 9 at the time.
And that had an impact on everybody.
Yes, sir.
When someone dangled cash in front of him, he saw it as the only escape from his struggles, admitting in court that he didn't even know who Young Dolph was, and in a tragic twist that the day Dolph was offed was actually his own daughter's birthday, leaving him looking like a man worn down and vulnerable, someone who was easy to manipulate and desperate for a way out. The real bombshell, though, dropped when Cornelius, after identifying both himself and Justin in the surveillance footage from that day, testified that Big Jook, Yo Gotti's older brother and a big figure in CMG, Collective Music Group, had allegedly put a $100,000 bounty on Dolph's head, pulling even more high-profile names into this tangled web.
Had a hit on Dolph head or whatnot, so
How do you know that Big Jook had a hit on Dolph's head?
I could quit had told me about it.
How much money was it supposed to be?
100,000 on Dolph head.
And had you agreed to do this hit?
Yes, sir.
Had Justin agreed to do this hit?
Yes, sir.
Cornelius then mentioned Hernandez Govin, another individual tied to CMG, who seemed to be the one orchestrating things from the shadows. Hernandez allegedly fueled Cornelius's drug habit, keeping him on the hook and using him like a pawn in this cold-blooded plot, all while Justin dreamed of making it big in the rap game and thought taking out Dolph might finally get him into CMG's good graces. It's chilling to think about, especially since they reportedly planned the hit around Dolph's annual turkey giveaway, a beloved community event where Dolph would hand out free turkeys to families in need. But instead of respecting the goodwill behind that day, the K-ears saw it as their golden opportunity to strike, a heartless calculation that showed just how far they were willing to go.
Yeah, it was turkey drive on every day that week.
Okay. You knew that, is it fair to say you knew Dolph was involved in these turkey drives this week before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we didn't know we were gonna catch him, but
So here's how it all went down. Dolph's iconic camo-wrapped Corvette caught their eye while he was driving around town, and right then and there they decided to tail him, just waiting for that perfect moment to corner him outside Makeda's Cookies, where they knew he'd be vulnerable and alone. And when it was all over, Justin Johnson, in a chilling move, reportedly FaceTimed Big Jook to confirm that the deed was done. Using sign language, he spelled out Dolph's name to let Jook know they had completed the hit, and Jook responded, telling them they'd see each other soon and that their payments were coming, setting the stage for what was supposed to be a $100,000 payout for everyone involved.
we giving quit 10,000 apiece.
All right, so you and him were going to give Govan 10,000 apiece?
Yeah.
And how much were you going to get?
I was getting 40, he was getting 40.
Okay.
But of course, things took a turn, and instead of getting what he'd been promised, Cornelius testified that he was left high and dry, only receiving a measly $800 in the end. While Big Jook reportedly paid out $50,000 for Cornelius's lawyer, the shooters themselves were stiffed, left to deal with the fallout on their own. Then, just when it seemed like the truth might finally catch up, in a shocking twist, Big Jook was shot and offed outside a restaurant on January 13th, 2024. Footage of Jook's body hit social media in no time, with people flooding the comments with Young Dolph emojis and fans noting that even if the courts hadn't caught up to him, the streets had already delivered their brand of justice. Now every person connected to Dolph's murder is either in custody or facing charges. Justin's own brother, Jamarcus, was the fourth person to be arrested after helping Justin flee the scene, and he's already pled guilty to 3 counts of accessory after the fact, looking at a sentence between 6 and 12 years. Meanwhile, Justin, Hernandez, and Cornelius are facing the full force of the law with undeniable evidence stacked against them. And Cornelius, who's become the main witness, is likely sealing life sentences for both Justin and Hernandez with his testimony. But even though Cornelius is cooperating, the prosecution has made it clear that he's not walking away from this. He's still going to serve time regardless. One of the most gut-wrenching moments of Cornelius's testimony was when he admitted that the day Dolph was offed was also his daughter's birthday. And when the prosecutor confronted him asking, "You went and offed a man on your daughter's birthday?" Cornelius simply replied, "I was trying to make it rain for her. I wanted to make it a beautiful day for her." But instead of being there for his daughter, instead of being the father his 5 kids needed, Cornelius, a man caught up in addiction and desperate for a way out, ended up taking the life of a Memphis icon for just $800 and an empty promise, a tragic choice that's now sending him to prison. And the only thing left to see is just how long his sentence will end up being. As the legal system is working its way through Young Dolph's Emder case, the streets have been carrying out their own form of justice, turning Memphis into a hotbed of vengeance that hasn't slowed down since Dolph's tragic death. His crew was quick to mobilize, ready to take on anyone even remotely tied to Dolph's Emder, and anyone who dared to mock his passing paid a high price. Their first target served as a warning to all. Comedian Darian D. Moneychilds had the audacity to joke about Dolph's death online, and just a week later, he was gunned down, marking the start of a revenge streak that kept building. Then, in January 2022, things escalated when Big Nusky, a rapper signed under Moneybagg Yo and cousin to Big 30, was shot and offed around 7 p.m. at the New Horizon River Apartments on Kazasa Road. It was speculated that Big Nusky had ties to Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, one of the main suspects in Dolph's Emder, based on photos of them posing in front of the same car. And despite Straight Drop's post mourning Nusky with a caption that read, "Lost my brother fighting to keep my head up," it was clear Dolph's crew wasn't about to let up. But Straight Drop and the others charged in Dolph's Emder were allegedly not only linked to CMG and Yo Gotti, but also connected to the Memphis gang Trula Mafia, with one of its high-ranking members, Joshua Taylor, aka CEO TZ, being rumored as a key figure in the plot. The police had been watching TZ closely, but his time was cut short. On June 14th, 2023, he was found dead at Spotswood Avenue near Bunton Street after being shot the previous night and left in a car near a church. His death another chilling episode in this chain of retaliations. News outlets reported TZ as a high-profile gang member with close ties to the group that took out Dolph. And YouTube journalist King AK speculated that TZ would have had to approve the hit on Dolph, suggesting that by eliminating him, Dolph's crew took out a major figure tied to their pain.
Vitalis Taylor, also known as CEO TZ, was found shot to death in Orange Mound Wednesday at Spotswood and Bunton. Those who live nearby tell us Taylor was actually shot the night before, discovered life.
There's no gang member. TZ was the head of Trula Mafia. Do y'all, anybody that's in Trula got anything to do with Young Dolph death? Justin Johnson. TZ at the end of the day gives the okay.
And just when it seemed things couldn't get more intense, the streets claimed another casualty, proving that no one was safe. Female rapper Destiny Golden, aka Lotta Cash Desto, fell victim to the cycle of revenge. On September 24th, 2022, Desto and a friend were stopped at a traffic light in the 5500 block of Richmond Avenue around 2:40 a.m. when two shooters emerged from a dark vehicle in front of them and opened fire, taking Desto's life and injuring her passenger. For many, this ruthless hit was the clearest sign yet that Dolph's crew was determined to make every last person tied to his Emder feel the weight of his loss, no matter who they were or where they came from. In an unexpected twist that had everyone talking, it turns out that another piece in the whole Young Dolph Emder puzzle was none other than Lotta Cash Desto's father, Hernandez Govan, who was allegedly linked to orchestrating Dolph's hit. After his arrest, Govan went online, dropping hints that his own decisions might have been what led to his daughter's tragic death, as if the tangled web of connections between each victim and Dolph's Emder was becoming clearer with each new loss.
And well, at least 5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Big Jook is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
And asked for Young Dolph to be murdered.
Mr. Govan has been indicted and is in custody for being involved in the Young Dolph. He played the role of the person who solicited.
And if anyone had doubted the drive behind Dolph's people, their next target made it obvious just how relentless they were. On August 18th, 2023, shots rang out at a BP gas station on South Parkway East around 9:30 a.m. And by the time officers arrived, they found Tammanuel Benson, Black Youngsta's brother, fatally shot, and what shook everyone was the boldness of it. The shooter hadn't even bothered to mask up, leaving police with a clear image they quickly circulated along with a $5,000 reward for information. This brazen daylight hit was another warning that Dolph's crew wasn't backing down, especially considering the long-standing feud between Black Youngsta and Dolph, a beef that started back with Yo Gotti and only intensified over time. Back in 2017, Black Youngsta had even been arrested after an attempt on Dolph's life that saw over 100 rounds fired at Dolph's SUV, so the animosity between the two camps had been simmering for years, always on the verge of boiling over.
King of Memphis, King of South Memphis, he ain't from the city. Where we at right now, cuz? We in Castaigne right now, cuz. What Where he at? Where he at?
Where you at, dog?
Now, with his brother gone, Black Youngsta finds himself grappling with a heart-wrenching loss, seemingly wrapped up in the unending cycle of vengeance Dolph's people are allegedly determined to see through. And in a final gut punch, Big Jook himself was taken out in a chillingly ironic moment, right while he was attending a funeral, as if the revenge saga had come full circle, with Dolph's trial now here. Fans are buzzing with rumors that all this pent-up fury could reignite, and whispers on the street say that Yo Gotti himself might be the next one in line, which might be why he's reportedly keeping a low profile, knowing how quick things could turn.